What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. I'm glad to be back home. I'm back from my trip to New York. First of all, let me say, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you need help with technical analysis, trading coaching, etc., and you are interested in one-on-one sessions with me, that link is in the description. Let us get started because we have a lot to go over. So first and foremost, what is at the top of the list in terms of importance for me is that Tether is now back to parity with the US dollar. So it's almost at $1. It was at $1 and it fell, 0.003 cents short. But yeah, basically it is back to $1, which is good because there was some ambiguity and actually some concern in the crypto community surrounding Tether and why it fell from its dollar peg. So glad to see that that is back in parity with the US dollar. So let me go over Bitcoin's price real quick because obviously there is some movement. I mean, Bitcoin's been pretty boring for almost 2 weeks now, really trading at the lowest volatility that we've seen in 2018 and that we've seen actually going all the way back 18 months, so early 2017. But if you look here, we now have this big red candle, this drop. Now it looks bad on the chart itself, but in hindsight, this is only two or 3 percentage points really drop. Yeah, 2.09% drop from where we were. So it's not terrible, but it does, break the lull in activity that we've had over the last couple of weeks. Now, what that means overall, it's not that significant to me because if you see that this magenta line here, these two magenta lines basically denote the tight channel that we were in for a couple of weeks, but the real sideways channel goes all the way back to the beginning of September, and it is marked by these two yellow lines here. So for me, as long as we don't break this yellow line, this yellow support line, which is at around 6150, the 2018 support is at around 5800, which we've gotten to a couple of times this year. But as long as we don't break this and then fall to 5800, then we should still be okay, and this can still be considered a sideways pattern going all the way back to the beginning of September. Now this is expected, not saying that a drop was exactly predicted, but when you have periods of low volatility, a breakout in either direction is expected. If you look at something like the Bollinger Bands, you'll see that the Bollinger Bands, what they do, it just shows you, it basically denotes a mean based on price action, and the price tends to regress to the mean. So in the middle of the Bollinger Band, you have this red line which denotes the mean. So anytime you're significantly above that, you expect it to revert back to the mean. Anytime you're significantly below that, you expect it to revert back to the mean as well. So when the Bollinger Bands are tight, that usually signifies, or that always signifies, a period of low volatility because the price action is not wide ranging. So we did expect to see a breakout, and we still do expect to see a breakout because this is still low volatility in reality. So we still do expect to see a breakout in either direction at some point because of this low volatility. And if you look at something like BitVol, where is that site? I have it up here somewhere. Okay, here you'll see volatility over time. If you go year to date, so since January, you see the volatility. We were, up in the 8 percentage point range, and now we're at, less than 1.5% volatility. So the volatility has gone down over time, and this is the lowest period that we've seen, or the lowest volatility that we've seen over the year. Now, if we change this to something, if you change this to 2017, let's see if it will allow me to do that. You'll see that, going all the way back to January 2017, this is still the lowest period of volatility that we've seen. As a matter of fact, you have to go all the way back to 2016 to see a lower period of a lower volatility measure than we currently have, going all the way back to December 2016. And you'll see that every time you hit an extremely low period in volatility, there is a rally in volatility thereafter. Now, it doesn't mean that the price will rally upwards. It just means that the price will fluctuate more than it is currently. So it could actually fluctuate, going up and going down. It doesn't mean that this isn't an indication of an increase in price. Now, you would have to, overlay this over a price chart and see what that means. But either way, I think that mainly because of the backed platform that is launching in December, we could see a price surge, however temporary that may be. But currently, and I've said this before, Bitcoin for me is in a no trading zone, right? For me, I only like to trade what is in play, right? As a successful trader, you have to trade what is in play. You let the market, you cannot dictate the market. You can't force plays. You can't make plays. A lot of times on the Discord, when I send out the trade alerts, there are some weeks that, I send out more trade alerts than one can handle. And sometimes there is a lull where I'm on the sidelines waiting and I'm not actively making trades. As a swing trader, there are periods where you do have to wait it out. Now, I've said this before, as a long-term trader, you are okay buying at market crashes and holding for the long term. That is fine if you don't want to be actively trading in and out. And you can certainly justify making, an entry into Bitcoin or a scaled entry into Bitcoin at these levels, especially since the volatility is so low and it is showing that currently that is the floor that Bitcoin wants to be at. Around these price ranges, you're not going to get it, you're not going to pinpoint it exactly. But as a swing trader, you have to only trade what is in play. You can't dictate the market. You can't force the market to make good trades for you or to give you good setups in order for you to trade, right? And currently, there is nothing in Bitcoin that is in play for me. As I said, the range between the floor and the ceiling is too narrow for there to be a successful swing or risk a certain amount of capital on a potential swing trade for a reward that isn't really viable at the moment. And plus, when you set support and resistance, you can wait for breakouts. I can wait for a breakout of this yellow support line or this yellow resistance line before making a trade because the market will be telling you something at that time. Trading range bound like this doesn't really tell you much in terms of the future movement of Bitcoin. I don't care who it is. Nobody's going to tell you, specifically and successfully what the exact next move of Bitcoin is. That's why in technical analysis, you do set up trend lines and draw patterns so that you can then initiate trades on breakouts, etc. If people knew, then you wouldn't need to draw lines and resistance points and support levels, etc. You would just trade based on your, psychic knowledge of what the market is going to do. Anyway, rant over, but that is Bitcoin for now. The only other thing I wanted to point out on Bitcoin is that, this, if we close October 31st, if we close below, what was that? Where were we at October 31st of last year? October 30th of last year, we closed at 73.72. So I don't know if we'll get there, but by tomorrow, if we don't close at 73.72, that will be the first year-over-year decline that we've seen in 2018, meaning, that the price currently is lower than the exact point that we were at last year. And of course, in back last year, in the first week of November, we actually saw a pretty significant drop going from 73.72 closing to 58.70 closing the following week before, seeing the massive bull run. So anyway, I don't know if that's hugely significant, but it's good to know what the price history is. And this will be the first year-over-year decline that we've seen in 2018. However, what's more significant to me is the sideways period of low volatility. And that to me is more significant than saying, this time last year we closed slightly lower than the same exact time last year. That doesn't really tell me much. Now, I think we will see significant price action when the backed platform comes out in December. I just can't imagine that in periods of such low volatility, something like backed can come out without it having a major effect on price. So we'll see what's in store for Bitcoin's price as that event nears. In other news, ZCASH has gone live with its Sapling network hard fork. This was a hard fork that's been planned for a long time. Actually, the first article that I saw about it on CoinDesk was February 23rd, 2017. So this is almost 2 years in the making. But it has gone live with that hard fork. And that hard fork, in summary, is aimed at making the network faster, lighter, and more secure. Now, it'll still take a bit of time for the Zcash ecosystem to add the new addresses, but yeah, I mean, the hard fork itself is live. Now, what that means in terms of price, you could see that the price of Zcash really hasn't budged with the announcement of this event. We've seen this in the past where events don't really have, when the event actually occurs, we don't really see a change in price. And even if you look at, this is against Bitcoin, let's see, against the US dollar. Even if you look at against the US dollar, it looks similar. There really hasn't been a change in price of Zcash. Now, I think Zcash is a great long-term hold. If you look at it now, it is currently trading near prices that we saw in May 2017. So I think Zcash is a great long-term hold at these levels. But yeah, in terms of a swing trade, it is currently finding resistance at the 50-day EMA. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is also in the description. A couple of successful trades that we've had, WTC trading the breakout of this descending, of this symmetrical triangle right here, and then also on ZRX, playing the breakout of this descending wedge. So if you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. Another one that we had was TNT, which is currently out of play, but we did play the breakout of this ascending triangle as well. That is it for this video. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. If you need help with technical analysis or trading coaching, let me know. That link is also in the description. Leave a comment if you have a question. Stay safe out there. Peace.